a night that shook Spanish football. In Andalusia's footballing capital, the Ramón Sánchez-Pizjuán witnessed one of its most unforgettable nights. Sevilla, a side often cast as gallant underdogs against Spanish football's giants, produced a performance of the ages as they dismantled reigning champions Barcelona 4-1. The victory was not merely a routine upset. It was a result that reverberated across Spain and beyond. Barcelona, unbeaten in La Liga this season, reduced to rubble by a Sevilla side that pressed with ferocity, attacked with precision, and capitalized on every moment of weakness. The Catalans, so often celebrated for their resilience, left Seville bruised, battered, and humbled. It was Sevilla's first league victory over Barcelona since 2015, and the manner of it, the energy, the clinical finishing, the tactical mastery, ensure it will be remembered as more than just a statistical anomaly. For Barcelona, it was their heaviest league defeat in recent memory, a defeat that not only stalled their pursuit of Real Madrid, but also raised profound questions about manager Hansi Flick's tactical approach and the squad mentality. What unfolded was not a fluke or a freak scoreline. It was a carefully orchestrated dismantling, a humbling that will be poured over for weeks, and perhaps seen in the future as a pivotal turning point in the trajectory of both club seasons. Match report, Sevilla's ruthless execution, the early warning and Sanchez's penalty. The tone was set from the opening whistle. Sevilla pressed high, with Isaac Romero and Alexis Sanchez leading the charge, snapping at the heels of Barcelona's backline. Within 13 minutes, their aggression paid off. Romero burst into the box after a tussle with Ronald Araujo. The initial challenge seemed innocuous, but a VAR review persuaded the referee to point to the spot. The decision sparked protests from Barcelona players, yet the verdict stood. Up stepped Sanchez, a man who once wore Barcelona's colors. He calmly slotted the penalty past Marc-André ter Stegen and celebrated wildly in front of the roaring Pizjuán faithful. For Barcelona, it was an early gut punch. For Sevilla, it was belief crystallized into reality. The champions were vulnerable, and the night was theirs for the taking. Romero doubles the lead. Sevilla sensed blood. Their pressing was relentless, their transitions devastating. Ruben Vargas, enjoying acres of space on the flank, carved open the Barca defense with a darting run before cutting the ball back across the box. Romero, who had earlier squandered chances, made no mistake this time, sliding into double Sevilla's lead just before the half-hour mark. The Pizjuán erupted again, a cauldron of red and white ecstasy. Barcelona looked rattled, their high defensive line repeatedly exposed, their midfield unable to stem Sevilla's waves of pressure. Rashford's moment of brilliance. Just as Barcelona seemed destined to collapse before halftime, Marcus Rashford provided a moment of individual brilliance that temporarily shifted the narrative. Deep into stoppage time, Pedri lofted a clever ball into the box. Rashford, timing his volley to perfection, lashed the ball past Origin Nyland to silence the stadium and breathe life back into the Catalans' hopes. It was a goal of world-class quality, and for a fleeting moment, it appeared to be the turning point. Barcelona entered halftime bruised but not broken, with a scoreline suggesting a potential comeback was possible. The mist that defined the night. The second half began with Barcelona pushing higher, throwing numbers forward. Their pressure yielded a golden chance in the 76th minute. Substitute Adnan Januzaj clumsily fouled Alejandro Bald inside the penalty area, leaving the referee with little choice but to award a penalty. This was the moment. Barcelona, trailing 2-1, had the chance to equalize. Robert Lewandowski, the man they so often relied upon, stepped forward. Yet the Polish striker, usually unerring from the spot, blazed his shot high over the crossbar. The collective gasp from Barcelona fans was matched by an explosion of relief and joy from the Sevilla supporters. It was a night distilled into a single moment, Barcelona's frailty and Sevilla's destiny. Sevilla sealed the rout. With Barcelona deflated, Sevilla pounced again. In the dying minutes, José Ángel Carmona surged into the box to slot home Sevilla's third. Moments later, Aker Adams added a fourth, hammering the final nail into Barcelona's coffin. When the referee blew the final whistle, Sevilla's players collapsed in joy, embracing each other in front of an adoring crowd. Barcelona, heads bowed, trudged off the field, their unbeaten run shattered and their aura dented. Tactical analysis. Flick's gamble backfires. This match was as much about tactics as it was about individual brilliance. Sevilla's game plan was clear. Compact defensive lines, high pressing when opportunities arose, and ruthless counterattacking. Sevilla's pressing and midfield discipline. Sevilla's forwards pressed Barcelona's defenders aggressively, forcing hurried passes and errors. Their midfield trio worked tirelessly to close spaces, cutting off supply lines to Pedri and Frenkie de Jong. Whenever Barcelona pushed bodies forward, Sevilla broke with speed and directness, exploiting the massive spaces left them behind. Barcelona's high line, a fatal flaw, Hansi Flick's philosophy hinges on a high defensive line and intense pressing. On this night, it proved suicidal. Sevilla repeatedly found joy in the channels, with Romero and Vargas stretching Barcelona's defense. Araujo and Count, usually reliable, looked exposed and disjointed. Ineffective attack beyond Rashford. Marcus Rashford strike aside, Barcelona's attack was toothless. Lewandowski's missed penalty epitomized their lack of cutting edge. Ansu Fati, introduced late, failed to impact proceedings, while the fullback struggled to provide meaningful width. Flick's inflexibility under scrutiny. Critics have long questioned whether Flick's style, so reliant on aggression and high pressing, is sustainable in Spain. Against Sevilla, those doubts crystallized. His refusal to adapt during the match, persisting with a high line even as Sevilla carved it open, invited criticism from fans and pundits alike. Player performances, heroes and villains. Alexis Sanchez, ice-cool penalty, tireless pressing, emotional goal against his former club. Isaac Romero, constant menace, scored Sevilla's second. Ruben Vargas, creative spark, his assist showcased Sevilla's intent. Jose Angel Carmona and Aker Adams, late goals sealed humiliation. For nearly a decade, Barcelona had enjoyed dominance over Sevilla in lead play. The last Sevilla victory dated back to 2015. To not only win, but win convincingly by 3 goals, marked a shift in perception. This was not just an upset. It was a humiliation that evoked memories of Barcelona's darkest defeats: Rome 2018, Anfield 2019, Lisbon 2020. Implications: the road ahead. Barcelona's defeat leave them trailing Real Madrid in the title race. For a club desperate to reassert dominance domestically, this stumble is costly. Flick now faces mounting pressure to recalibrate tactically. For Flick and his players, the road ahead is clear: adapt or risk being left behind. For Sevilla, it was proof that on their day, in front of their passionate supporters, they can humble even the mightiest of opponents. It was not just a match. It was a statement, and its echoes will be felt long after the final whistle.